Hello, welcome to my podcast about voices in education. My name is Victoria Cuadra. Here in the US, I am Miss Cuadra. I have been an educator for around 15 years, and I have had the fortune to work in different countries. I have worked in Chile, I have worked in the United Kingdom, I have worked in Mexico, and at this point in my life, I am working in the US. And throughout my experience, I have shared with so many different educators, and I feel like there are so many people having so many different opinions about education. But I thought it would be a good idea to open the space to listen to the voices of those who are actually in the educational field every day. So today I have very exciting guest. He is Mr. Desmond. I've been working with him for 3 years. He's an amazing art teacher at my school, and I think because he's an amazing educator, I am very interested in listening to what you have to say about education.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, I'm kind of nervous, but this is it's going to be fun, and I do have a lot of information that I think would be important to express and just to kind of put out there in the atmosphere.
Yes.
So we'll see how this goes.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
My first question for you is, how did you get involved in education?
So my earliest involvement in education was when I was in college. I began substitute teaching, and it was funny. I was just kind of sort of doing it for a part-time job and didn't really know that years later I would end up back in education. But my actual background, professional background, is social work. And I got into education because I realized one day teaching that this industry was a little bit more light than I think social work was for me. And I sort of needed to rebound or refocus my thought process in regards to safety, to children and happiness and the way the world looked with regard to family structure. And schools, for me, kind of helped me reset the way I thought children were experiencing life in the U.S. So it seemed to be a little happier there, and I just never looked back, and I stuck around and I stayed. So
Yes, and I'm so glad you did.
thank you.
So, being immersed in this educational system and in this country, what do you think are the biggest challenges teachers experience nowadays, considering, the political environment and what students are dealing with every day right now?
That's a really, really layered question because I have so many different ideas as to why. I think my first answer would be there's this sort of shift or disconnect sometimes between home structure. Me having a background in social work, I look to home structure being the primary factor in the behaviors and the understanding of structure when it comes to a child. And a lot of times teachers don't necessarily get the support when from parents, I think sometimes. And a lot of times we do. And when we do, it makes our job a lot more fun, and it's really what we sign up for. But I think some of the biggest challenges that we face are the disconnect between what parents may do at home or what they may expect from their children and what we as teachers would need to run a classroom with other children in there that come from different backgrounds and homes, and how we need to make that an environment that everyone is able to grow and develop in. And so sometimes we don't always get the support that we need in that aspect, and it makes it a little bit challenging. And then also there's the aspect of sometimes administration, forgetting what it's like to be in classrooms. Things have changed and things have evolved. And so, teachers now may not necessarily know that the people that are leading us may have done what we've done for a certain amount of years and now deem themselves, I don't know what the word is, but maybe more skilled in different areas and have forgotten in some type of ways emotionally what it is that we need as far as support to make this an experience that is beneficial for not only us but also the students.
Yes, I agree with you there. I think it's very easy for school administrations to lose touch with what's happening in the classroom if they step out of the classroom for too long, or if they don't check in with teachers to really see what's happening in the classroom.
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of the main things I think that happens in any industry. I don't think it's just education. I think it's in the industry where people have leaders who are receiving a sometimes even substantial, amounts of income and things of that nature, and they just seem to forget the daily needs and the daily emotional needs of what teachers, do. And it's not. Oh, I've worked for some extremely great leadership, and I've worked for some, for some organizations and places where they do understand it. But it's really challenging in education sometimes when you don't have that, and that's what makes it something that we tend to I don't know. We tend to not necessarily get the support we need, and it makes us a little bit. It makes it a little bit difficult to enjoy what you do.
Yeah, and also I think when you add standardized testing and schools that depend, like their funding depends on attendance and enrollment, you start seeing schools as sort of like an industry or as a company where you have to meet deadlines and you have to meet scores and you have to meet numbers.
Yes.
So I think that can dehumanize the experience of education.
Absolutely. And I think it has. I personally think that's one of the biggest factors. There's a disconnect emotionally that is happening because of that reason. I think that people are forgetting that these are humans. These are little developing brains that need more engagement than just testing and scoring. And then also, I'm looking at a lot of times these schools are accepting children that have challenges that they don't necessarily have the support for, and so the teachers now have to support those students, and they don't have the support, the experience and the background and the credentials to support behaviors and autistic children. So then there's that factor. So it's so many different layers and I think the biggest disconnect is the voices are just not heard because the gap is way too wide. It's way too wide.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I have also noticed, and this was one of the reasons why I decided to invite you to my podcast. I've been observing your relationship with students and the way you manage classroom behavior, and I think you have a lot to contribute to, like common knowledge or new teachers who want to learn about classroom management. There's some wisdom that I think deserves to be shared. So first, what is your approach to building relationship with students and your approach to maintain classroom management at the same time?
Yes, that's a good question. My approach has always been to build emotional connections first. Without emotional connections, you don't get they're not able to build this respect that they need in order for discipline and redirection to actually matter and look the way it needs to look and be consistent. There's a certain level of firmness that I do use because I know that children feel safe when they know that I am in control of the classroom. There are certain students that have behaviors that trigger certain other students, and if they know that I'm able to manage that behavior from those students, they feel a lot safer. And so even in my firmness, I think students know why I'm firm. They know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then I'm always able to go to transition back to the area where kids know I'm never upset. I'm just being firm because I really need this point to matter. I need for you to understand that this is a very, very, very significant thing that I'm requesting you do. And it has nothing to do, in my mind, with ego. It has all to do with growth, safety, and development. And because that's the only reason I'm here. I have a background of social work. So my factor is to understand the emotional, traumatic needs of a child first. So what happens is I like to engage with them outside of classroom. I like to go out when they're eating lunch. I like to sit out when they're lining up to class for class. Sometimes even when they're in class, I'll come in and I'll just kind of say hi because that engagement with them makes me more of a human as opposed to a tyrant or a person who's redirecting. And they also know if I ever have to get there, it's about their own accountability. It's about the fact that I'm not walking around pointing my finger. I'm actually putting redirecting. So if there is an area where I'm doing that, it's justified, and they all understand that. And then that's not the only side they see of me. They see most of the time they see me smiling and very very joy. I have conversations. I know I have about 400 students, and I know generally about 80% of what they like in terms of movie and media, stickers and things like that. So those things are important for me to share with them if I'm going to redirect and be as firm as I need to be in terms of managing a classroom. And managing is not just about being firm. It's also about having fun and making sure that they know that it's a balance, that we can do these things. The thing that I really find most interesting is respect comes from not being taken advantage of. Children are going to take advantage of you if they feel they can. If they see both sides and see that balance, they know that that if they want you to act in a certain way, that's earned. And earned is behaviors are, in my opinion, are earned. And so you don't get one thing without the other. If you want to have a fun classroom and a fun day, then you give that to someone, and then you get that back in return.
Yeah.
So I think they all generally understand that. From me.
Yeah, I actually see it.
Oh, thank you.
I see it every day. And I learn from that as well. I think
you.
you're able to balance, having fun in the classroom, but also managing or redirecting something when it has to be redirected. And I think another thing that you do is that you name the behavior. You make students aware of what's going on, and maybe they didn't even know that what they were doing had a name. And you put a name on that, you redirect it, and then you go back to being fun and enjoying the lesson.
Yeah, wow. Some things I think I'm learning from you all too. So I don't even know that I'm developing these things because I'm in an environment where teaching is still new for me too. So I wasn't even really even aware of that, but that may be something that I may have picked up along the way of watching more experienced teachers do whatever it is that they do. But thank you for that, because I received that, and I think that has a lot to do with why I have been successful, because there are some times where I get in my car and I think to myself, why was I? And also lately, what I've been doing is I've been building a conscious to what that looks like. Even though that's my structure this year, it's always room for change, right? So I'm always looking at areas where I can do it differently, where where maybe that worked last year or that worked this month, but it doesn't work anymore, or maybe it works in 5th grade, but it doesn't in TK. So I'm still learning those areas too, and it's keeping me sharp, I think, in that sense, and also humble to know that I'm still a new teacher and that I am still growing and that I'm gonna make mistakes.
Yes.
The other day I had a student tell me, Mr. Desmond, I think that I can paint this wet. And I said, no, if you do it wet, it's gonna probably not work out right. And he said to me, I don't know, I think I can. So I said, you know what, try it out, because I haven't yet. I'm assuming that. Try it out, and maybe you're actually right. Well, it turns out he was right. So I was sitting there, he said, look, Mr. Desmond, look, it worked. I'm like, you know what, it did work. I was actually wrong. I said, that's a good lesson. I'm the art teacher, but I can actually learn from you as well. And I wanted him to know that no matter how professional you are, how talented you are, you're always going to be learning. And even and also, I'm just Mr. Desmond. I'm not some wizard that has. I'm only a human that's having fun with you too. So if there's an area that I need to probably learn, I'm open to doing that, and they need to know that I am, so I can learn more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's important. I would say for me it's very similar, although I've been teaching for almost 15 years, and I became a mentor teacher for prospective teachers. I am still learning every year, and I learn from prospective teachers as well, and teachers who are pursuing their teaching credential. They have so many new ideas from TikTok, for example. I don't have TikTok, but I'm like, oh wow, these ideas are so good. Like I'm taking this idea. So I think that's something. That's something that we do as teachers. We're lifelong learners, and we learn from each other all the time.
Yes,
So
yes. I think that part of the issue is when we're no longer teachers and we go into different phases, like leadership and or administration. That's when you sort of forget that, and then that is where we get the
interesting
the drawback because you're no longer in that environment and you no longer need to use those tools on a daily basis. And maybe the tools again that you used to use are no longer applicable. To the way we do things now. And so I don't really think that that we're crazy for seeing what we're seeing. I think that it's just general. It's human nature. I think it's gonna happen that way if we're not holding ourselves accountable to the needs of all people.
Yes.
Not just ourselves, but teachers and students.
Teachers and students. I mean, admin has to pour on teachers, so teachers can pour on students.
And they have to pour abundantly. Because we have to give that to a lot of needs. And I always think about it, before there's any doctors, before there's any teachers, before there's any lawyers or any of those things, there are students. They have to learn the academics and the foundation and the fundamentals of life, period. Honesty, sharing, participating, building bravery and courage to present what they know to other students. Those are things that we help navigate. We don't just sit in class with a with a marker and write on the board. We are actually building, their confidence in other areas. So I don't, and again, those things can be forgotten if you're not doing it every single day, and that's why I think we get some of the kickback that we do in this industry sometimes, in this field, should I say.
And it's constantly changing, I think. The generations that I'm teaching now are very different from the fourth grade generations that I taught, I think, 7 years ago.
Absolutely.
So I'm always updating my knowledge and trying to learn from, what are they interested in now? It's not the same as they were interested in 7 years ago.
That's so true. And then also culture plays a big part. Representation plays a huge part. I think people leave that out of schools a lot. Leadership and teachers and all that needs to represent the demographic of the students. They need to be able to look and hear tones and hear speech of things that are familiar to them in their own traditions so they can respond in ways that can benefit them and where they can grow, and these things can be conducive to their own cultural and diverse values. I think that working in a school like the one that we're able to work in builds this appreciation for how important culture really is. Behaviors. I look at a lot of African American students in the schools, and there are not very many people in leadership to work with them, or very many people in the support fields to be able to work with them. It's not just about having the credential, but it's also sometimes about having the cultural background and understanding and the cultural competency to understand what needs to happen in certain times of behaviors. How to de-escalate certain people culturally. What can trigger them culturally while you're getting these behaviors and what you may have said. All of these things are important, but if these conversations are not being held from leadership all the way to staff to support, then it's going to just keep this circle of just confusion that we constantly find ourselves in.
I agree with you. Although when these conversations happen, I'm not sure if they go as deep as they're supposed to go or as they should go.
Well, we would know if we would see the results. So
we
would see the results in the world.
And then my last question for you is, if you could change, and this is a very broad question, so you can just choose one aspect because it's very broad. If you could change one aspect about the educational system in the U.S., either in the micro level or macro level, what would it be?
I've thought about that question several times. One of the first things would be all of the I don't want to say ridiculous. All of the miscellaneous credentials and training, I think, that teachers are required to do in 2025 have taken away from the actual calling and gifts that people have been given to give back. I think that we have overlooked that teachers are not just they're called to do this. This is a talent. This is something that's put inside of you to be able to affect the next generation of human beings. That is not something that is taken lightly. But I think what's happening now is we are required to do so many things that people that are actually called to do this are being turned away from wanting to do it because there are so many requirements and there's not enough financial support. There's not enough income that would justify for all the work that you have to actually do and all of the things that you would need to gain in order to even be able to get the position to be a teacher. So a lot of these, there are a lot of barriers that I think they thought were helping in the beginning, and maybe were at some point, are now, I think,
discouraging people from pursuing.
Yes, and also exhausting teachers. There are a lot of teachers that I know right now that are in programs, that have been in programs for 3 and 4 years, and they're great teachers, but because they don't have the means, and these are individuals, by the way, that have families. They have their own families, their own needs. They have, and I don't think the education system is seeing that this is actually devaluing the field, and it's also causing a little bit of stress and anxiety to teachers, and that's trickling down to, I believe, what we're able to give our students. I think we're going to see the result of that in about 20 years, because if you look on TikTok now, they're dissecting the way teachers are dressing, and they're looking, everything except for paying us more, everything except for appreciating what we actually need. There have been times I've seen people want to appreciate teachers in the field, and they've been told not to, or funds have been taken away from the education system. So that's, I think, is the biggest issue. People don't understand that what we do is not just getting up every single day and writing on a board. It's actually a calling. It's a gift, and we have to sharpen it every single day. We have to ask each other for advice and look at each other for support that we don't get from areas that we actually need it from. There are not enough. I can go on, but that's my answer.
No, that's a great answer. Like, I agree with you, like in so many ways. And I'm like, I can think about an example of every single thing that you said.
And I can too. I just would be here for hours, but there's those things are all areas.
Yes.
And I've had a chance to work in schools in Indiana, because that's my background. And so then coming to the West Coast, and both of those areas are so different. But one thing is the same. People don't necessarily understand the calling and the talent that a teacher actually holds. There are some teachers right now with only a bachelor's degree that have more talent than a teacher holding every credential needed in that state. I've seen it several times. I've seen people that are only paid to support classroom be better leaders and teachers than the actual teacher in the classroom. So there are things that I believe that the system may need to rethink in terms of how we are demanding teachers demonstrate their talents.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I know what you mean. I hope that change happens. I hope the system or people who are supposed to be in charge can see this before it's too late, before the teacher shortage become even bigger and wider.
What are we gonna do? I mean, it's like, and then also there's this area of teachers and the work being in the middle class, and how that's now being cut out. So the middle class professions are something that are not being respected in terms of leadership in government. It's just a lot. And we are the reason that people even still have teachers is because we are called to do it. Sometimes we don't even care about that. It's our talent, and we love to be in the classroom, so we don't really care about, I've been offered all type of positions, but I actually genuinely love working in a classroom with students. I love seeing them develop. I love watching them go from first grade to fourth grade and seeing their skill and that's my, so those are the things that keep us in the environments. It's not because we're being compensated. It's not because we're being valued. It's because we genuinely are called to do this, and we have a talent, and we know that the students need what we know. So we stay.
Yeah, stay. And
as long as we can. No.
Yeah. I agree with you. Many times during my teaching journey, I've been questioning when I see that the systems are not very supportive, and we get overwhelmed, and we even burn out. You try to find your voice again, and you try to find the calling again, and be like, okay, the system is not very supportive, and whatever is happening around is not going well. So where do I find my calling again? And I find it when I look around and I see teachers around me and I see, oh my gosh, every single teacher has a magic behind them. Like it requires a certain type of magic
It really does.
to be a teacher. And they're so hopeful, like the amount of effort they put in their classrooms and preparation behind their lessons, that shows that there is hope.
What I think about sometimes too, Leslie, is someone did it for us. It was done for us. I mean, if I'm now in the position to give that to the next generation, that was given to me. I only know what I know because someone was in a classroom with me and decided that I needed to learn something, and that they didn't want to leave the classroom until I was able to learn it. And so, if I am now in that position, I have developed that same understanding. It's something that I look back on all of my teachers, and I remember. Days where you can see that they probably were stressed out, and you may not have known it then, but looking back, you realize, wait, they were, but they cared about us learning. And why did they care about us learning? I remember certain things that were said to me about my future. I know who I am now because certain teachers told me, you're going to do this when you're going to be great in this area. That was the environment I was in every day, and that wasn't coming from necessarily home, or that was coming from my school environment, from a teacher. So that's what we do every day, and that's what keeps us in there. And I hope that people appreciate that, not just us, but I hope that people appreciate it. But for nothing else, if they don't, I think that kids will. I think that this who I am right now will be repeated in the next 20 years. Someone will come out in 20, 30 years and say, I remember Mr. Desmond. I remember Ms. Quadra. They said this to me. They affirmed this for me, and now I'm doing this. I make this joke to my kiddos all the time that when you grow up and Netflix comes to you for the documentary, don't forget Mr. Desmond. You know, don't forget to say, hey, well, he's the one that that told me I was great at whatever. Because I do believe that you're going to be great. I do believe that what we're doing right now is going to make you really great someday. So,
I believe that.
Thank you.
They better do that.
They better do that. I got a lot of them that I said it to, so I got a lot of it out there that should come back to me really, really soon. We'll see.
They will. I mean, you are unforgettable and a remarkable teacher for sure.
Thank you. I received that. And likewise, I have learned a lot from you. I've learned a lot from your patience and your gentleness, your soft-spokenness, and then you have this whisper. I think I kind of like call it, because all of your kids seem to comply very, very well. They have this thing with you, but I never hear you. It's like, I never hear you. I never hear her. I hear her when I'm talking to her, but I never hear her. But the kids have this way of just kind of like, and even when I'm leaving the classroom and you're getting everybody, it's this calmness. I try to do it. And then I tell myself sometimes, that's just not you. Maybe your way is just the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but that's Ms. Quadra's way. And so I look at other areas from teachers, and we all have our own talent in our own ways. But what's fascinating to me is everyone has developed their own version of it.
Yeah.
That to me is so fascinating, because we all do one thing, but the fact that we've all developed our version, and that only means that we've given it our heart. That only means that we've given it everything that we know. We've looked inside of us and used who we are to give that to other humans. Yeah. And it in my opinion, I think it works.
Yes, I mean when you find your own way, your own voice, and I think not the trick, but what helped me connect with my teaching spirit is finding my teaching magic. When I connect with my own teaching magic, I'm like, okay, this is my way. I don't have to do it like anybody else. And sometimes I make mistakes, of course. But you have your own magic, so just follow that and
trust that.
And trust
that even with the mistakes, they'll be okay. They'll be fine. They will be fine. They will, and if you understand, if they trust you, and they know that it's a mistake that was intentionally that was the intention behind the mistake was to make them better. It wasn't to actually be a mistake. Yeah, they'll rebound from that. They'll recover. That's what makes you human, and that's what makes them bond with you. That's what makes them really, really like and love who you are.
That's true.
I make a lot of mistakes, but they know how humble I am. We do, and I'm humble about it. They're not intentional.
No, not at all. But I think, we're human. We're humans, and it's important for students to see our humanity.
Yes, absolutely.
And stay humble about it. So I try to stay humble through my humanity and say, oh, okay, I think I could have done this in this way. You should know that.
And they may not feel it right now, but they'll feel it 20 years from now when they're in that situation. They remember, I remember that my teacher did that. I remember that.
Yeah.
She handled it in a certain kind of way. I
Yeah.
didn't process it back then, but I process it now, and now
Mhm.
I understand what she was trying to do. I do that all the time now. That's how I'm confident in what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back 20. Because I'm doing it all the time with old teachers. That's why I'm so sensitive and I'm so passionate about teaching, because I'm thinking to myself, this is what they were doing the whole time for me. They were tired every day. They were getting up early in the morning. I had no idea. I had one of the teachers make a joke to me the other day. He said, "My students thought I lived in the school.
Yes.
They were young. They thought I
I've
lived
heard
here."
that one.
You know, and I'm like, yeah, they do, because that shows that you're very dedicated. That your classroom must feel like home. It must feel like you don't leave this place. Something about that is
Yeah.
really important to feel from a student. You know,
Yeah.
so.
It
I
is.
love that, and I don't take that for granted. They'll look back on that and be like, "Wow, I had a really safe classroom environment. I remember how
Yeah.
fun I felt in that classroom. I remember her having certain things set up that we all enjoyed and liked. How did she even know that? You know, she cared. She thought about it. She heard a little side conversation and realized, oh, I better get those stickers. I better get that, you know, that poster, because that's what they like. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the fun part of what we do. That's the joy.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
I agree. That's the joy.
Yeah.
Like finding the joy in what we do. That makes it special.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much,
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Desmond,
This
for
was
this
amazing.
conversation. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I liked it too. I could, keep talking to you for hours.
I was
Like,
going to
this
say, right,
topic
how
is-
long do we have? Because, yeah, we can
know.
go for hours. But
This is never ending. But
Yeah.
thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experience, and again, I really believe your voice and your wisdom and your experience again has to be shared and learned from to other people.
Thank you, and likewise.
Yeah. Well, bye bye.
The end? No.
The end. All right.
That was
Whew.
good.
I don't know how long that was. But okay, are you sure you want to stop? Yes.